BWOne here from BWOne, and in this video I want to give you my review of the OnePlus One. The OnePlus One is one of the most interesting devices because it's coming from a company that you're not really probably familiar with, and it's coming with flagship specs, and it's kind of elusive at the same time. It's kind of hard to get one of these here, but we finally got one here at BWOne. Let's give you my full review and let's see if it lives up to the moniker of a flagship killer. All right, so here we have the OnePlus One, and one of the first things you notice here is the design of it. It's a very typical, slate design that you would normally see in most phones, sort of a slab. Kind of lays a little flat like that. It's curved up here at the bottom here a little bit, but it's pretty nice and it feels pretty premium, and that's kind of important here because the one thing you have to understand about the OnePlus One, it is a $350 phone if you buy the 64GB version, was the version we have here, or if you get the 16GB one, that is $299. So this is what you're getting, contract free, straight up pricing, no carriers, nothing. It's just straight up, when you buy it, this is what you get. And for that price, this is a very, very premium smartphone here. I like the nice metal trimming on the side. I like that the screen is just raised just a little bit. I don't know if you guys can see that. I like that there's a little glass sort of there on top of the screen like that. I kind of like that. Sort of approach that they have here with it. Pretty nice. It has an interesting back, this sort of sandstone, but you can get different backs. I think they have different backs that you can sort of get with it, but this is what the 64 gig comes with. It's not something that I was in love with immediately. It did take some time to get used to, but it does feel pretty good and gives it a nice unique feel overall to the phone. This doesn't feel like any other flagship phone. I think that was sort of the one of the goals that OnePlus One was sort of trying to accomplish here, or OnePlus rather, that's what the name of the company is here. Now on the back we have a 13 megapixel camera with 4K video recording. You have dual LED flash right here on the back. You have a little etched OnePlus logo. You have Cyanogen here because this is running CyanogenMod software. It's a version of Android that's very close to stock with some pretty cool features with it. And we have the speakers here at the bottom with the micro USB port here. I'm not a big fan of speakers being here at the bottom. I think when I'll show you in video, it can be kind of cumbersome in certain viewing situations. You have the volume rocker here. Now, since this is more of a taller phone, they have the power and the volume sort of lower as where it would be on a normal size phone. So for people with smaller hands, it's gonna feel pretty good here. If you have big hands like me, it's not really gonna matter, but with smaller hands, you're gonna feel that it's gonna be right in the perfect place here. Now, we'll turn on the screen here. We have, let's swipe that down here. You have a nice 5.5 inch HD display with some pretty good viewing angles with it as well too. And that's pretty big considering that most of the time when you're buying a phone at $350 outright, most out of contract phones are usually double that price. And usually if you get something in this price range nowadays, it's usually less respect, less screen, it's not as good. This has a very nice display with it and pretty good specs coming with it overall as well too. Quad core processing inside of it, 3 GB of RAM, which keeps everything running very fast and very smooth. And it's just got everything that you would expect in a flagship phone. It has a 5 megapixel front-facing camera as well too to take some nice high-resolution selfies if you want to. Now, the interesting thing, this phone gives you the option of having either capacitive or on-screen buttons. So if I want to actually go in here and swipe down, I want to go into the settings and actually go down to where it has buttons. I can actually choose between enabling on screen. If I uncheck that button, it's going to light up the physical capacitive buttons here at the bottom, which are in this layout. So it allows you the options between having the virtual buttons or the physical buttons here. Now, the thing is, I'm kind of not a fan of that, and I'm gonna tell you kind of why. There really isn't a point of having capacitive buttons to me unless you have a physical button down there, a la the Samsung Galaxy S line of phones, Galaxy Note phones. The Galaxy phones in general have that. Almost the tablets have that as well too. But if you can have the physical button down there, it makes sense to have it there. Other than that, it's kind of just a big sort of chin at the bottom that could be used for more screen real estate or making the overall package a little bit thinner, a little bit smaller, cutting up the borders there a little bit. I think there really isn't a point of capacitive buttons unless you have a physical button there and then 2 capacitive on the side. If you don't have that, I would really suggest just going virtual buttons. I think it's a bit of a better situation, and it's going to help, like I said, make the phone a little bit smaller, give you more screen real estate, just gives you more options in that regard, I think. So, and I've used it with both, and I've definitely liked using the virtual buttons a little bit better here, but I've actually been using the G3 as a daily driver, so I've gotten kind of used to virtual buttons, just like a little bit better. All right, so for software on here, you are running CyanogenMod. So CyanogenMod is a version of Android. It's running the latest version, Android 4.4. And the nice thing about this is that OnePlus is going to promise, and CyanogenMod are going to promise that when the latest versions of Android are ready to go, you're going to be able to get that right away without having to wait for it, without having to wait for carrier approval, going through all this crap. And usually when you want to get your updates, you're going to get updates very fast and very quick. So that's going to be nice. And that's kind of what the OS is kind of overall. Very fast, very smooth, very quick. Not really seeing too many hiccups. You see a hiccup here and now and then, but you see that on most phones. No phone is absolutely perfect, but so far it's been pretty cool for me. One of the things I did have to adjust to is in the notification section. So if you swipe on the right side here, you're going to bring down your settings. If you swipe on the left side here, you bring down your notification tray. And see, I'm so used to just swiping in the middle and just coming down, but if I'm used to swiping also, it just comes down, it's always the same thing. So I've gotten a little aggravated sometimes with that. Then it's just coming from using other phones that don't really have the feature where it just swipes here and just goes right to your quick settings and such like that. So, but it is something you want to keep note of. Something that I think it's something that, like I said, it's something you have to sort of get used to. So let's take a look at some other things inside here right now. You can do some more customization here with the theme showcase. You can actually change themes around, and you can purchase different themes as well too. We have Gem Emerald, Bright Wave, Mustard Seed. They even have stuff like if you want to make it look like an LG G3, a Galaxy S5, you want to make it look like an HTC One, you can purchase those skins within here, those themes within here, and it will change it. Take a look at some of the themes that we currently have on here. So we have Hexo, which is the default for CyanogenMod, but let's say I want to change the holo. I just tap that rather. Gives you some previews of what things are going to look like, your fonts, notifications, arrows, indicators, all that stuff. And you can check the box here from what parts of this you want to change and update. So you just tap update, it's going to apply it. Should take just a few more seconds here. And boom, now we're going to have it looking like stock Android, which we see out of a Nexus. It looks completely like a Nexus. So that's pretty cool. All the way down to animations, swiping down, you can even see the navigation bar changed, all that sort of stuff. It's nice that you'll be able to have that level of customization, which I think is pretty cool. Now for carriers, in terms of how you're going to get this phone now, in America, it's really going to work on AT&T and T-Mobile. Unfortunately, Verizon's trying to CDMA carriers. You're not going to really be able to use the phones on their networks. They just don't give them the bands. So if you're in AT&T and T-Mobile, you're pretty much in good luck. You can use this overseas, internationally. You shouldn't have a problem. In most networks, you should be able to use it anywhere. LTE and non-LTE networks, you should be pretty good. So another thing I want to talk about here with the OnePlus One is the gesture features. So one of the cool ones, you can double tap, and the phone will come on just like that. It's pretty cool. You can also do a V like this, and what should happen is the light should turn on, hopefully. Had some issues getting this one to work consistently. There we go. You can see, I gotta shine the light in a little bit there, but you can see the light turns on. You can use the flash, and same thing here. You can just do that to turn it off. So that's a pretty cool feature. Nice to add some gestures to add on. It's something that's shown up in other flagship phones. It's nice to see that it's also here and available in the OnePlus One. All right, so that's after we kind of looked here at the software. You can see some of the skins have changed here. Let's take a look at the camera here, the camera UI. So we're gonna tap that there. Interesting user interface. It's simplistic. You can kind of swipe to the top here to kind of change to the different themes and such. But it does have some nice features here. We go into the settings. You have your 13 megapixel setting here. You can set your quality. You can set, slow motion shutter, touch duration, ISO, all sorts of cool settings right there. Swiping, you can adjust your 4K resolution. So if you want it to be 4K UHD, that's going to record in 30 frames per second. 4K DCI, I believe, is 24 frames per second. We're going to have each version of this in a separate video. Since this video itself is going to be in 1080p, we're going to upload these separate in 4K so you can get an idea of the video quality, which is pretty good for this phone. It's not something I would say that is good as some of the bigger flagship phones, but like I said, for the price, it is very good on what you're getting here with the camera. Same thing with the image quality as well too. The pictures look pretty good on it. Low light looks pretty decent, and regular daylight pictures look pretty good as well too. And I'm judging this based on this not being a typical smartphone you hear from LG, Samsung, Motorola, HTC, where the expectations are a little bit higher. This, for a first-time company coming out with something like this at this price range, these are just very, very, very good photos, very good quality overall with it. So I have to give them a thumbs up on that. And the camera UI, like I said, it's very simplistic and very sort of easy to use. You just tap on what you want to do. You can take a panorama shot just like that. You can take a picture, snap it, goes just like that. So it's pretty cool. So that's just a camera there in general here with it. All right, so let's look at a couple other things. We've kind of looked at the UI, see sort of some pre-installed software. That's another key thing. You're not really getting anything pre-installed from the carriers with this, so there's no extra bloatware, there's no extra gunk on it. So when you're talking about in terms of storage, this is 64 gigs. So most of the time, you get a 32 gig phone, but you only have 18 gigabytes actually available to you. In this case, 64 gigs is in here, and you get 54.8 gigabytes of total space in here. So that's including all of anything that CyanogenMod puts in it, the pre-installed Google applications, but that's all you're getting. You're not getting anything else on. You're not getting any of the crap that you don't want. You get to use the storage the way you want to. Now, there isn't any expandable storage or removable battery. That's one thing to know, so you can't expand upon it or change the battery out. But if you get the 64 gig one, you're going to get plenty of space and plenty of storage. Even the 16 gig one, you're going to get plenty of space, plenty of storage. You're not going to get it all eaten up by the operating system and a bunch of bloatware that you don't necessarily want. And you have 3 gigabytes of RAM, which keeps everything running very fast, very smooth. I haven't really had any crash outs or any slowdowns or anything noticed with that. Battery life has been pretty good as well too on here. It lasts me throughout the day. Any phone that I would say, if it can get me through the day, a normal work day, 9 hours, 10 hours through the day without me having to plug it in, then it's a good day. If I can unplug it from the charger during the day and then just let's actually go to the battery settings in here. We'll go ahead and hit settings. If I can, let's go back one here, and you can see how fast it is. I tapped it again because I'm an idiot. There we go, battery. I'm at 85% here. I had it off the battery for about 3 hours. Screen is pretty much the most it's been using. But anything that I can get through the day, if I can unplug it in the morning and then I don't have to plug it back in until later in that evening or close to I'm going to bed, it's a good phone and it's a good battery life there for you, and that's what you're going to get out of here. So I do like that feature. I have about 3 or 4 social networks connected to this, a couple of email accounts, and it's been working pretty well for me in terms of battery. So that's definitely a thumbs up here with that. Another cool feature, I want to show you audio FX. What's nice about this is that this actually allows you to enhance the audio, which has some pretty good settings in here. When it came to that, I was able to listen to Google Music and enhance this a little bit better within my headphones. So, and you can change it from small speakers to electronica to pop to rock, and you can change the bass and stuff and such like that as well too. So we have it set on small speakers, and if it was set, I can actually, if I have some headphones plugged in, I can actually change the bass boost. I can change the surround sound if I want a little more surround sound with it as well too. You could change go to a headset. You can see here. There you go. I can change those settings around. If I want to go to something I have plugged in USB, I can do that. Bluetooth. If I want to adjust my Bluetooth, how I want I want to turn it on and how I want it to sound and such. If I want to change what type of filters, depending on what type of music that I'm listening to. I think this is a really cool feature to have. I believe this app is also available on other, you can get this outside of other phones as well too, but I do like that it's there. It's a nice added bonus. It's something that's actually useful. So let's actually go back here. I actually want to go back to the CyanogenMod theme. I actually like that theme a lot, this Hexo theme. Let's go ahead and check everything back up on here that I want to change. Ooh. And all those are already there. Their boot animation stuff are already there. There we go. Update it, and now we're back to the traditional theme there. So this is pretty cool. Overall, it's been a very good experience for me with the OnePlus One. I really don't have a whole lot of complaints. One of the things, actually, let me show you that. Let's go back down here a second. One of the things I do want to show you here is when you're listening to something on audio on here. Let's say I want to go to the gallery, play this video here that I have. We'll start it off from the beginning. That's good video quality. The problem is the speakers are firing here on the side, and that just makes it a bit of an awkward experience, especially if you hold it like this. It sounds like you're kind of listening to everything on the right side only, and you can't really hear anything on the other side. So that's kind of the downfall of speakers being down here. Hopefully they can kind of alleviate that. I think front-firing speakers are pretty much something that I think a lot of phones should try to look into, trying to put in the speaker placement more so where it's facing you or in a better location to just get better audio quality in times that you don't want to wear a headset. So that's just kind of it with that there. And let's take a look at a couple of the photos and you can get an idea what the photos look like. I'll have these up on the website as well. You can actually take a look at what the screen looks like as well too. Screen looks good overall. Very, very good experience. So let's go ahead and head back over here. So now let me close it out here by just kind of saying I don't really have a lot of complaints with the OnePlus One. I think it's a very good device, especially for the price that you're paying for it. You're getting a lot of good features in here, $350, and you're getting all this. It's very good. I definitely have to give it a thumbs up. The only caveat was sort of were the speakers being here at the bottom. The elusiveness of trying to get one of these is a pain in the butt. They really need to get this out to the masses. It would be nice. The fact that you only really can use this on AT&T and T-Mobile, and this really isn't a cause of them. That's just kind of the way it sort of works sometimes with carriers. You know, it just all depends. So disappointing you only have 2 carrier options that you can really use this with. We used this with AT&T, and it was a pretty good experience overall with it. But OnePlus One, not a lot of complaints, and it's a phone that I think is really going to be for someone that likes the Nexus phones but wants a little bit more out of it until we see whatever the next Nexus is. You know, I think this is what the OnePlus One is. This is sort of what people wish the Nexus phones were, instead of being sort of that mid to high level range. This is a high-end phone that can compete with a lot of flagship phones. I don't think it beats all of them in certain ways, but I think it's definitely up there, and it can be something considered, especially if you have a carrier that can support it, and it's up there with those options of the LG G3, HTC One M8, Samsung Galaxy S5. It fits into sort of that category, I would say. It's not, I wouldn't call it on the phablet side. It's definitely not on the phablet side of things, even with the big display. It's more in those standard phones there. So that's my review of the OnePlus One. Let me know what you guys think. Definitely post your comments below. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Also share it around as well too if you think somebody will find this useful. And as always, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page. Also follow us on all of our social networks. And always remember to live your tech world in high definition. Thanks for watching.